earners tax cut may run out. The Labor Party's does not.
All right, so in among the many points made there by Chris Bowen was a glaring taunt to the government, challenging the Prime Minister. If he feels so good, said Chris Bowen, about these tax cuts passed today, he should drive down to Yarralumla and have an election called. I think that's unlikely to happen, but that is his suggestion anyway. Now, it has been a big day, of course, in the Senate with the passing of this overhaul of the income tax system. Watching it all unfold on the government's benches was Liberal Senator Amanda Stoker, and she joined me here in the studio just after the vote was completed. Well, Amanda Stoker, you're here. Welcome now as a senator. We can say that because although you've been around a while, you've delivered your first speech. We'll talk about that in a moment, but more importantly, you've been a participant in the passage of those tax laws this morning. What did that feel like as a moment on the floor of the Senate?
It's really exciting to be a part of delivering something that's so important to the well-being and the prosperity of Australians. I mean, this is good for an Australian family, whether you are a battler to someone well off. It's good whether you're doing it tough or whether you're a business. It delivers benefits right across the economy, and so it's really exciting to be a part of it.
What about in the life of this government in this parliament? The ability to secure, you could almost argue easily, relatively easily, the support of some important cross-benches there. Do you read anything into that? Does that augur well for other pieces of legislation remaining?
Look, as a team, we don't take anything for granted. And so we know that the crossbench are people who are intelligent, they are able to think for themselves. Every policy proposal has got to be the subject of its own arguments in favour. So we do that at every opportunity, but I do hope it bodes well. We're certainly working hard on building the relationships that mean we can have the discussions that are necessary to be able to convince the crossbench of the merit of the things we're advancing.
Were you entirely comfortable with the tactics? We used the word earlier, almost ruthless and clinical by Matthias Cormann in using gags and bringing this to a head. As a participant in the process, do you wish sometimes that it might have been done more collegially and in the traditional Senate fashion?
I certainly wish there was more collegiality on the floor of the chamber. I think sometimes things descend into something that's more like a zoo than like a sensible debate. But in this circumstance, there had already been a very long debate on Tuesday night dealing with the merits of these proposals, and everybody who had wanted to participate in that had a really good opportunity to do so. It's also, I think, quite hypocritical for Labor to be putting on such a performance now about abuse of process when they have done it more than anybody else in government, including doing it 53 times in 1 week.
Yes, I heard that statistic.
It's only been 4 times in the life of this government that it's been done. So I don't really think we should be apologising for efficiently delivering what we have promised to the Australian people, because we have also had a reasonable period of time for debate.
OK, so the test of time, this is a 7-year package. We don't know what's going to happen to the Australian economy or the world economy between now and 2024. How can you say with any certainty that the tax cuts in this bill reach people's pay packets and wallets in 2024-25?
Well, it's worth mentioning that the first stage happens immediately. So for low-income earners and middle-income earners, they're going to feel the benefits now, and that's a really important thing. But for the people who are at the higher end of the wealth spectrum, they've got a little wait. Yes, there's some uncertainty associated with planning ahead, but I think it's
elections, for instance.
Well, yes, but, you know, the people can't have it both ways. You want a government that's going to be short-sighted and only do things for now, or do you want them to, in a measured way, plan for the long term? I think it's a great thing that we've got a plan for how to manage this into the long term. And even though we don't have the ability to, with a crystal ball, predict everything in the market, what we do have in this is some really positive measures for our economy that can help to give it the best possible chance of weathering the uncertainty ahead.
So can you say in any and all circumstances, a coalition government, if one's around in the next parliament or even in 24-25, will deliver, is duty-bound to deliver all of this? I guess the question is, would you ever bend and alter policy to fit the times if necessary?
Oh, look, it's pretty hard to deal with a speculative kind of scenario, we always try and do the best thing that we can for the Australian people, given the facts as we know them. But based on everything we know right now, this is the best thing for the Australian economy and it's the best thing for Australian households.
All right. Now, you did yesterday give your first speech to the Senate, noting that you were the 99th female senator to occupy that place. Was that a key point you wanted to convey? Is that a key part of your political identity going forward?
Oh, look, my political identity is really about beliefs, and I tried to focus on that in my speech last night. I care a great deal about the fundamental principles that underpin being an effective Conservative. But it's also nice to know that we have had 99 women in this role before, and I think that's a really good sign of the way things are trending.
You'd want to get into the hundreds, into the century pretty soon.
I really do hope so, and I don't think it'll be too long. But, you know, as a mother of girls, of course, I love to see women contributing in all facets of life, and of course I hope to make a contribution here that's meaningful.
You seem to introduce there the concept, I don't think you use these words, but the concept of sort of household income averaging to support women who might choose to stay at home. Is that an agenda you will be pursuing? Is that viable in Australian tax law?
Look, I think it's viable and it's worth being the subject of a serious debate. What I really wanted to convey there is that in Australia we've got families that look, you know, all kinds of different shapes and sizes, and everyone's got a right to raise their family in a way that is meaningful and fits with their values. And if that means a family's willing to make the sacrifices for one parent to stay at home, well, you know, more power to them. We should be helping them.
Via the tax system, you want that supported as a choice?
Yes, I think so. I think that would be a really good option available, just as we invest heavily, as we should, in childcare for those who need it. You know, I think we should also be open to the idea of other proposals. You know, when we look at the low birth rate among particularly career-minded women, maybe we should be thinking about tax deductibility of nannies. That might be something that helps people to prioritise family in circumstances where at the moment it might feel like an either-or proposition between family and career.
All right, well, it has been a big day for taxation, and if you've got ideas for the future, Amanda Stoker, I'm sure we'll hear them as the years go by. But thanks for your thoughts again today.
Thank you, and thanks for the opportunity to chat about what I think is a great day for Australians.
So Amanda Stoker's reflections on the start of her political career, marked by her first speech, brings us neatly towards question time coming up in the House of Representatives. And I think it's pretty much in our imaginings and our anticipation that tax will be referred to constantly in question after question. You would have to imagine from both sides, the Dorothy Dixes as well as Labor's, because it's all up for grabs now. The government has had what it would regard as a significant achievement in the Senate today.